Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So, it's time for another franchise ranking video today. And today, guys, I'm going to be ranking another one of my favourite sci-fi action horror franchises of all time, which is for none other than Predator. So last week I of course ranked the Alien movies. Now it's time to rank the Predator movies. So guys, I'm going to be including all four of the standalone Predator movies. I'm not going to be including any crossovers they've had. So I'm not including the two crossovers they've had with Alien, and they'll be covered in their separate trash talks because I hate both those movies. But so I'm going to be ranking all four of the movies of Predator from best to worst in my personal opinion. So if you guys don't agree, that's absolutely fine, but please respect my opinion just like I respect yours. Okay, so starting with what is easily my all-time favourite Predator movie, which is the popular choice among many critics of Predator. So my favourite Predator movie of all time, guys. In first place, I'm definitely going with Predator, released in 1987, the first movie directed by John McTiernan. And I really love this movie, guys. It's one of my favourite sci-fi horror movies of all time. It's absolutely brilliant movie in every way. It's absolutely awesome. So the pros of the movie. So I don't have any problems with the movie, guys. So on to the pros. I think it's got a really amazing cast of characters. They're very entertaining to watch, and they play their roles so well. So, honorable mention, in my opinion, plays to go to the legendary Arnold Schwarzenegger as the character called Dutch. He's a very entertaining protagonist, guys. Really brilliant character, in my opinion. He's absolutely fun to watch. And Dutch is also easily my second favourite role of Arnold Schwarzenegger after Terminator. So after Terminator, my second favourite role is Major Allen, nicknamed Dutch Schaefer. I also as well love the addition of Carl Weathers as Al Dillon. Al Dillon was also very entertaining to watch as well, and one of my favourite roles of Carl Weathers, guys, alongside characters like Grief Karga in The Mandalorian, and also, of course, Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies. But he was definitely really amazing as Al Dillon in this movie. Absolutely brilliant. He was Carl Weathers. And I think the Predator character is also very iconic as well, guys. One of the best sci-fi villains of all time. Absolutely brilliant. And this movie just proves it because how scary he is. The Predator is really scary. And And the suspense is also nailed perfectly, in my opinion, guys. It really is. And when it comes to Predator, I really love the creature effects by Stan Winston. May rest in peace. And I also as well love, guys, how a Predator is, of course, voiced by my favourite voice actor of all time, Peter Cullen, in this movie, which is really awesome. I do love that. And one other highlight of the movie I do love, in my opinion, guys, is also the change of genre, or bait and switch, whatever you want to call it, where it starts off as a 1980s action movie before it turns into a horror movie when the Predator first appears. As soon as the Predator first appears, that's when it becomes a horror movie. And I love that change. It just flowed so perfectly, in my opinion, guys. I also as well love the music by Alan Silverstreet. It's very memorable music, in my opinion, guys. Great theme song, and which has gone on to being used in, future things related to Predator, for example, in other movies. And it was also used in Predator DLC for a video game as well called Ghost Recon Wildlands, which is pretty awesome. But it played the same theme in the Predator DLC where you got to hunt a Predator. That's really awesome. And I'm sure it's been used in other things as well, but And plus as well, I think it also has many memorable quotes, like for example, Arnold Schwarzenegger's "Get to the chopper!" And also as well, "If it bleeds, we can kill it." So many iconic quotes, in my opinion, guys. And also during, the fight scene at the beginning where Arnie says things like, "Stick around," and also "Knock, knock." And and also as well, the scenes where Arnie is yelling at Predator to kill him, he's like, "Kill me, I'm here, do it now." And also as well, when the Predator takes off his mask, which is also another iconic scene, in my opinion, guys, where the Predator takes off his mask, Arnie's like, "You're one ugly, you know what?" And then says, "What the hell are you?" And very memorable quotes, guys, which hold up so well. And of course, when he first meets Dylan, Arnie of course says, "Dylan, you son of a you know what." So And the action is also brilliant, guys, as well. It's really amazing. And because of this movie, the Predator went on to become a very, very iconic horror monster, one of my favourites of all time. And yeah, absolutely brilliant and character, in my opinion, guys. And in my opinion, this movie and one of its sequels is the only two movies which did the character right. And yeah, we'll get to why when I'm talking about with the other movies, but yeah. But nonetheless, so guys, this movie is my favourite of the franchise, and yeah. And one of my favourite movies by John McTiernan, who would later go on to direct Die Hard, and its second sequel, Die with a Vengeance, and yeah. And this is definitely one of his best movies in my opinion, guys. So, if I was to rate this movie out of 10, well, I would give this movie a flat-out 10 out of 10. Because I love everything about it. I love the cast, the Predator character, the story, music, everything. It's just absolutely awesome. Yeah, brilliant movie. I give it 10 out of 10. And now on to what is my second favourite, guys. I'm going to go in with the second sequel to this movie, which is 2010's Predators. Directed by Nimrod Antal, it is. Yeah, Nimrod Antal. And so, this movie, in my opinion, is a good movie, guys. Quite underrated action horror movie. It's sci-fi, in my opinion, but still nowhere near the masterpiece, which is the first movie. So, yeah. However, on to good qualities. So, I think it's got a very, very stellar cast, in my opinion. Many great actors like Adrian Brody, Alice Braga, Walton Goggins, Lawrence Fishburne, and many others, just to name a few. And, yeah. And I like how they did a new setting where shot, it is a jungle like the first movie, but I do like how they made it different by having it not take place on Earth. I did like that, how they did it where they're on a different planet this time. That was a very nice change, and yeah. And I like to introduce new Predator characters, which is pretty awesome. You've got many different ones, like you've got Berserker Predators and Warrior Predators as well, which is pretty cool, and Super Predators. And you've got Predator Dogs as well, guys, which is pretty cool, and also a Falconer Predator. So I do like having introduced, many different kinds of Predators, which is pretty awesome, and yeah, I did love that. And when it comes to a cast, guys, we even got a character which is a character called Edwin, who is played by Topher Grace, who we think is supposed to be a doctor, but he's actually a serial killer. I love that plot twist, and yeah. And in my opinion, Topher Grace was way better in this role than his horrendous, in my opinion, performance as Eddie Brock / Venom in Spider-Man 3. Way better in this role as Edwin. And I consider it my favourite role of him, actually, guys, as well. Because I thought he was much better in this movie. And I love how the Predators are back to being villains, because there is one bad quality about Predator 2, which we'll get to, which I didn't really like about Predator 2, but yeah. It was good how Predators went back to being the villains they are, where they kill anyone they see, really. They don't spare anyone. And yeah. And the rest of the cast is also very good, guys, as well. And Adrian Brody was good as Royce, but I think I like him more in the 2005 King Kong movie. And Alice Braga was also great as Isabel as well, one of my favourite roles of her. But I do like her way more in I Am Legend, to be honest. And Walton Goggins was also very good as Stans, but yeah, he was good in this role. But I do like him more in his collaboration with Quentin Tarantino, but he's still very good in this role as Stans. Oleg Taktarov was also good as Nikolai, and so was Luis Ozawa Chanjin as Hanzo. And we even got appearances by Marshall Ali as Mombasa, and Danny Trejo as Kushilo, and of course Lawrence Fishburne as Nolan, who is a soldier that's been on the planet surviving for years is by scavenging. And yeah, really interesting character in my opinion. And yeah, and the visuals are also very good as well, and they're definitely an improvement because it's 2010. So and the music by John Debney is also very good as well. And I like how Isabel, the character, also actually does mention Dutch's mission, which is pretty cool. So I like how this movie connected to a 1997 movie. That was really cool. I did like that. How they mentioned the first movie. However, on to bad qualities, I will say that even though Danny Trejo or Marshall Ali and Lawrence Fishburne were very good as their characters, I hated how they hardly had any screen time. Especially Danny Trejo, because Kushilo only appeared at the beginning and then he got killed and was used as like a, to try and lure the survivors into a trap by predators. And yeah. So I feel we really wasted Danny Trejo. That was disappointing. And I also, of course, didn't like how Mombasa was also wasted as well, which is disappointing. Didn't like that. Because he got ambushed and stabbed by the Tracker, Berserker and Falconer Predators. And yeah, in a group, yeah. After he found the character Predator. And And of course, Lawrence Fishburne, like, was also wasted as well, sadly, which is disappointing, and yeah, didn't really like that. But he was still good as Nolan, in my opinion. And also, as well, I think the CGI for Predator Dogs as well was also not very good compared to, you know, standard 2022. Like, it didn't look that good, in my opinion, with CGI, but thankfully, don't have very much screen time, so I can let that slide a little bit. And also, unfortunately, the movie does have sequel baiting at the end, but, and yeah, because, you know, it's trying to set up sequels, and, but, unfortunately, that never happened, because we'll get to, you know, the movie which I hate in just a few moments, but yeah. However, guys, this is definitely a very good movie, in my opinion, the best out of what came after the first movie, and I'll give Predators an 8 out of 10. So, yeah. So, that's Predators, guys, and now, what is my third favourite? I'm going to be going with, which is the second installment, which is Predator 2, released in 1990, directed by Stephen Hopkins, and yeah. So, now, was it as good as the first movie? Well, no, absolutely not, because in my opinion, no Predator movie will ever top a 1997 movie, and this is definitely an example, because I have a couple of issues with it. So, it does have a good qualities, and I do consider it to be another underrated action sci-fi horror movie, nonetheless, though. So, the good qualities is, I really liked Danny Glover's performance as Mike Harrigan, very good character in my opinion. Definitely, so far my favourite role of Danny Glover, because I thought he was great in this role, and I do plan to check out the Lethal Weapon movies soon, hopefully. And plus, I like how, like Predators, this movie, the change the setting this time, where this time, instead of it being a jungle in Guatemala, this time it's Los Angeles, which is pretty nice. I do like how they changed that, very nice, interesting change. And just like the first movie, it does have a good use of bait and switch genre change, where it starts up as being like, kind of like a police movie in a way, because Mike Harrigan's like a policeman, and yeah, but it turns into a horror movie. Like, I do like that, that's really good, yeah. And once again, Stan Winston does do great creature effects, may rest in peace, and plus, it does also have a bit of a slight connection to the first movie, which is pretty good, how it mentions the 987 mission, which is good, and plus as well, even though I wasn't much a fan of it prepared to this movie, because it did something quite questionable, I do like how it had innovation, where, because those who are hunting it, they wear heat protective suits, so it can't see them with its heat vision. However, what I thought was really cool was how a predator changed its vision so it could hunt them, and yeah. So I did like how it changed its vision so it could see the humans which were hunting it. That was very, very nice, cool change right there. And the action is also very fun to watch as well. And there's even a pretty brutal scene where the predator kills people on a train. Like, oh, wow, it was so brutal. Wow. Definitely one of the highlights of the movie, in my opinion. And the rest of the cast was also very good in variables too, like Gary Busey and Ruben Blades and Maria Conchita Alonso, the late Bill Paxton, may rest in peace, and also Robert Davi as well. Although I do like Robert Davi way more in the Goonies, but, you know, he was still very good in this movie, in my opinion. And plus, guys, I'm also going to talk about a scene towards the end of the movie where Harrigan is on Predator's ship and he finds the trophies, because you guys may be aware that as an Easter egg, they included a skull of a xenomorph from the Alien franchise. And it's a really cool Easter egg, in my opinion, guys. And unfortunately, many people have interpreted it as setting up the Alien vs Predator movies. However, guys, I like to interpret it differently, because, as you know, I do hate the crossover movies, and we've covered in their own trash talk in the future. So I interpret the Xenomorph Skull cameo as setting up the game of Alien vs Predator, which I've played on Xbox 360, which is way better than the movie, in my opinion, and also the comics as well. And yeah, that's how I like to keep it that way. I like to pretend it's setting up the comics and the games, really. So yeah, that's how I like to keep it. And however, on to bad quarters of the movie. So one thing I didn't really like was, even though Bill Paxton did a great job playing the character of Lambert, I thought his character was quite annoying, in my opinion, guys, really. Like, he's supposed to be like comic relief, but I wasn't really much a fan of him, to be honest. Like, he annoyed me a little bit in many areas. But Bill Paxton still did a great job playing him, may rest in peace. He was still very good in the role. And his appearance in this movie makes him the only actor to being killed by, you know, Alien, Predator, and a Terminator, which is pretty awesome, which is pretty nice. And however, on some more bad qualities of the movie, I also think it also gets way too dark in many areas compared to compared to the first movie as well. It gets way too dark and it's pretty disturbing to watch. And also, when it comes to the Predator himself, you know, I said that he does something that's quite questionable. One thing I didn't really like the Predator did was I didn't like how the Predator was only killing people who are armed. And, like, I'm thinking, why is Predator doing that? Like, it's always confused me ever since I first saw the movies, you know, like, why is he only killing those who are armed? Because the Predator is not a hero or anti-hero, he's a villain. So that was really confusing in my opinion, guys, and plus, the Elements Predator game which I've played does get him right, thankfully, because during in one of the missions, you have to kill an unarmed scientist to acquire his head for a retina scan. So, thankfully, the game's got that right, where you got to kill the unarmed as well as the armed. So, yeah, thankfully got that right, which this movie, unfortunately, did not get right. And also, when it comes to the voice of Predator, while it was good, voiced by Hal Rayl, I do personally strongly prefer Peter Cullen's voice, because in my opinion, Peter Cullen's voice was way more intimidating and scary, in my opinion. I think his voice made the Predator of a scary villain that he is, really. And nonetheless, though, guys, this is still a good movie, in my opinion. Still an underrated sci-fi horror movie, nonetheless. I still think it's very good. And in my opinion, guys, it's definitely way better and way more tolerable to watch compared to the next movie I'm getting onto in this ranking. And I give Predator a 7 out of 10. But now, on to the nitty-gritty of the one Predator movie which I absolutely despise and can't stand whatsoever. It's none other than 2018's The Predator! Oh my god. Honestly, right? What happened with this movie? Just what happened? This movie absolutely sucked. And like, it was such a massive disappointment compared to the first three movies. It absolutely sucked. So this movie, directed by Shane Black, was of course released in 2018. And yeah, intended to be the fourth installment of the series. And it's meant to be like a sequel to Predators. But the thing is, it barely feels like a sequel to Predators at all. It feels like its own new movie. It's just ridiculous. But it does have a couple of good qualities, which in my opinion stop it for getting a 0 out of 10. So, good qualities I could say is that Boyd Holbrook, in my opinion, was the best actor in this movie as his character called Quinn. Like, in my opinion, Quinn was the only likeable protagonist out of the main cast. Overall, I like Boyd Holbrook more as Donald Pierce in Logan, but he was still, in my opinion, the best actor in this movie as Quinn. And so was Jacob Tremblay as well as his son as well, Rory. Because in my opinion, he was also the only likeable character in terms of the supporting cast as well. And Jacob Tremblay did a very good job playing him. I do also like him for his voice work in Luca as well, the Pixar movie, but he was still very good in this role as Rory. And the music was composed by Henry Jackman in this movie, but and while it was the same theme as Alan Silver's Drive from the first two movies, it was still nice to listen to the iconic theme again, but I feel Henry Jackman used it way too much, in my opinion, guys. So it felt like a retread, and yeah. But it was still nice to hear the iconic theme as like a guilty pleasure. And I think the opening sequence is somewhat decent as well, guys, in my opinion. Like, it's decent, and yeah. However, on to the absolute bad qualities, which made this movie absolutely suck. And yeah, so, in my opinion, guys, every character, apart from Boyd Holbrook and Jacob Tremblay's characters, are so unlikable and ridiculous. I literally can't stand the characters at all. Like, they're just an absolute pain to get through. Like, the character called William Traeger, for example, is the film's secondary antagonist, absolutely sucks. Like, he's so lame and pathetic. Like, I just can't stand Traeger at all. And he feels like a rehash of Peter Keyes from Predator 2. That's how he feels to me, because he was ridiculous. He's also so dumb because he accidentally kills himself with the plasma caster he puts on. So, yeah. And plus, guys, I also did not like the character played by Keegan-Michael Key either. In my opinion, he was also very annoying. Especially because of his very cringy joke he says about... And I'm not going to say what joke is because it's inappropriate, but I'll give you a clue. It's the E for Everyone joke. Yeah, I really hate that joke, guys. It's not even funny. It's just absolutely atrocious to listen to. And yeah, goodness me. And like, I also hate how this movie tries to force in so much jokes and comedy because it feels out of place in a Predator movie for one thing. And like, what am I supposed to be watching? Like, it feels like a parody movie compared to an actual serious Predator movie. Like, it can't decide what it's trying to be. Like, am I watching a horror movie or a comedy movie? I don't know. Because they don't know what genre they're trying to include. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And, like, this parody doesn't mix well at all. It's just so stupid. Goodness me. And there's so many, like, you know, plot holes with the movie. Because, like, if Predator in this movie has a goal which is to help humanity, why did he attack and kill numerous people, you know? And then again, that leads on to another reason why I hate Predators, because once again, they were ruining this movie, because, like, once again, there's been examples of them not killing people who are unarmed, and yeah, that was just so stupid. And don't you dare get me started on the lab scene, where a Predator approaches a woman who is in the lab hiding in fear, and then just walks away. It looks at them and walks away. Like, what the hell was that? That's ridiculous. And plus, when it comes to director Shane Black, one thing that I didn't really like that he did was, apparently, like, he initially had a convicted sex offender in the movie, and thankfully, however, the scene got cut when Olivia Munn found out about it. But, however, because of this, they cut her character's introduction because it cut out the character played by Ivy Fender. So that means that Olivia Munn appears out of nowhere in the movie. And yeah, I like her more as Psylocke in X-Men Apocalypse, to be honest, guys. But yeah. And plus, guys, the trailers are also ridiculous because they spoiled so many things about the movie. So yeah, like, notably the idea of Predators having a feud with each other. So yeah, that was ridiculous how it spoiled so much. And plus, the trailers even say that it's from the director of Iron Man 3. That's definitely a big problem if you're going to mention that, because I personally can't stand Iron Man 3, guys. I think it's one of the worst MCU movies, and I can't stand it, so yeah. And this movie I definitely can't stand either, goodness me. Absolutely ridiculous movie, in my opinion. And Quinn's mother is also, in my opinion, unlikable, especially because she threatens to cut her child over something minor, you know? Like, oh my god. She was such a terrible mother, in my opinion, guys. Absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah. As far as I'm concerned, guys, this movie absolutely sucks. Just absolutely, like, an absolute joke and disgrace to a franchise, you know, with unlikable characters, terrible villains, ruining the Predators as well. And the CGI is also not good either. And also, the forced in jokes is also horrible to listen to as well. And yeah. So, however, because of Boyd Holbrook and Jacob Tremblay, guys, and the music by Henry Jackman, and including the iconic theme and the soundtrack, all was used too much, and a decent opening, I'm going to give this movie a very bad 4 out of 10, because in my opinion, it absolutely sucks. So yeah. And guys, apparently there's going to be a 5th movie called Prey, which is like a prequel, and I'm not going to watch it, guys. I refuse to watch any more Predator movies after this horrendous movie. Because, like, in my opinion, guys, Predator can only just work as a first movie, and that's it. You could literally just treat it like it's just a one-movie franchise. It would work much better, in my opinion. So, yeah. And then, guys, so my ranking is, so, first place would be Predator in 1987. Second place would be Predators in 2010. Third place would be Predator 2 from 1990. And last place, and definitely least place, because I hate it, The Predator from 2018. So, yeah. So, you know, drill, guys, be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure in the comments how you guys would rank Predator movies, how you guys would rank them. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for movies coming in the future. If you'd like to be a member, you can press join and use peace out all in the description, and I'll see you all later.